Hello everybody, my name is Raven. Welcome back to my channel. Now today we're going to be talking about Amina and Sarah Said. Said? I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce the name. Anyway, these two girls were from an Islam or Egyptian father and an American mother. Now their father came over to America when he was fairly older. And their mother was younger. So her siblings actually did not approve of them getting married because Yasser is the father's name, said that he loved her to her father and said, I want to marry her. I'll give her a good life. I'll treat her well. And so her father agreed. So they got married. Okay. Now, he came to the U.S. in 1983. He married Patricia, which is their mother's name, in February of 1987. So not too much longer after, he came here. He was 30 and she was 15. Now it is said that he would abuse her during their marriage. He would actually, put weapons up to her, things like that. Now, the daughters, Amina and Sarah, were born in 89 and 1990. So, not that much older considering, they're not that much older from me, basically. Now, they also had a son. He was born in 1988. Now, in the Egyptian culture, the men typically get more rights. They get the better things. And the women do not. They're not allowed such, privileges, basically. Now, that is not my thoughts. That is just how things are, okay? It is also said that Yasser would abuse their daughters, and it came to a point where he would maybe borderline inappropriate abuse. I think you guys know where I'm getting with that. And he didn't want anyone else being with them. He didn't want them to have boyfriends, things like that. Now, Sarah and Amina both ended up having a job at a convenience store. So it is said that Yasser would stalk them there, and even if they smiled at a customer, he would get angry about that, and they would be punished when they got home. And even though the other daughter would say, we have to smile at the customers, it's part of company policy, he would still say, she's in big trouble. Just because she smiled at a customer, especially if it was a male customer. Now, it is also said at this point that the abuse became too great, so the mother, Patricia, and the daughters, Amina and Sarah, escaped him. And they fled, they moved away, they moved quite a bit away, I would say states away, and towards Oklahoma area. They stayed with relatives of hers, and they try to move on, basically. Now, it is also said that they also had to move because Yasser found out that both of his daughters had secret boyfriends. Now, Patricia ended up contacting Yasser with their new phones. They destroyed their old phones because he would constantly message, call them, try to find where they are, things like that. So they ended up getting new numbers. Patricia actually texted him saying, just so you know, we're okay. So now he's blown up her phone saying, you need to come home, you have to do this. And eventually she started being, winding down to the opportunity that he was forcing. So she eventually gave in, but she didn't tell them at first. So what actually happened was she told the girls, let's just go to Texas and visit some other family, some friends, things like that. It wasn't until they got right around that area where the house was that she said, oh no, we're going back to your dad's. Now the girls were terrified. The one girl actually went back. The other girl kind of ran off. So Yasser, maybe not. I think both girls actually left and ran. On January 1st, 2008, Yasser took Amina and Sarah in his taxi cab, and they kind of just drove around. He was going to take them to get food, things like that. Now, it was originally said that Patricia wanted to come along, but Syed said he wanted to talk to the girls himself. He drove them both to a new area. Now, this is where things get horrible. He ended up shooting both of them. Now, the one girl, Amina, I'm pretty sure it was Amina, died instantly. It was one or two shots and she was gone. Now Sarah, in the back seat, while she was being shot, she ended up calling 911. She was screaming, help me, my dad shot me, I'm dying. Now the video of this is very chilling. and you can find it all over the internet. And I'm not going to play it just because of how heartbreaking it is, but just know that it is very gut-wrenching. It just makes you want to cry for these poor girls. Now, after that, no one knew where he went. Yasser escaped. He fled. He was gone for such a long time after doing this. It just automatically made him more guilty. Okay? He was on the FBI's 10 most wanted list for 6 years. He evaded capture by law enforcement for 12 years. That's how long he was running for. Now, the FBI put out an award for $100,000 leading to his arrest for any information that can help with that. A break in the case finally happened in August of 2017, so this was just a couple years ago. In an apartment complex in Texas, where his son was said to live, one of the employees there reported seeing a man matching Yasser's description inside of the son's apartment. At 6:30 that evening, an agent came into the apartment to interview Islam, which is his son. He was upset and allegedly refused to cooperate. He then called someone saying, "We have a problem." At 1 a.m., a search warrant was executed, which was empty at the time. However, the police observed a sliding glass patio door open. Below the patio, they noticed a shrub with broken branches, suggesting someone had jumped off the patio and landed on the bush. Next to the flattened bush, they found a pair of eyeglasses, which they collected as evidence. They collected evidence inside the apartment, including several cigarette butts and a toothbrush. They compared the DNA to AMINA and SARAH and determined the DNA most likely came from their biological father. 3 years later, in August of 2020, they began doing a 24-hour surveillance in Texas. They observed Islam and Yasin entering and exiting the home in the shadow of another man inside the home after the two men had left. A week after surveilling the area, they obtained a search warrant and arrested Yasser. So this was just last year. He had been on the run for 12 years. From 2008 to 2020, he had been hiding out. Originally, they thought that he had gone back to Egypt, which is where his homeland was. But apparently, no. He's been hiding out in America, in Texas, this whole time, which is quite scary to think about. They also arrested his son. And I'm pretty sure they also arrested Yasser's brother as well. Yes. So his son and his brother were both charged with concealing a person from arrest. So that's going to help with the trial. Now, as an update, again, given the trials of what the men have received, Yasser was indicted on capital murder charges, making him eligible for the death penalty. His son was guilty of harboring a fugitive, and conspiracy to obstruct justice. He was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. Now, his brother, Yasin, claimed that he hated Yasser for what he did and that he would have never helped him if he knew what happened. He was found guilty of conspiracy and harboring a fugitive. He was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison. Now, the trial seemed to happen just recently this year. The son, Islam, was April of 2021. Yasin was February of 2021. There's nothing about when Yasser's trial was. My guess is earlier this year. So, and there was actually a show about this, and they called it the honor killings, I believe. Although I don't see this as very honorable. But apparently in Egyptian culture, if you forsake the family name, the family has a right to stop it right there and murder you for it. So that was something that I did not expect to learn, but I did anyway, and now you guys have too. I do hope you liked the video, and if you did, be sure to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and be part of this growing little community I've got going. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video.